Hello everyone. So today our topic is about kinematics and welcome to again Bridge Physics. Actually, we're going to solve a problem and it's actually a series of different problems and this is the first problem. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to look for the application of this formula in problem solving. So this formula V is equal to V naught plus AT. You can actually call it VOTAT so that you can remember it easily. So para mabilis siya ma-remember natin, ano? So VOTAT, it's actually, if you look at V naught, you can call it VO. This plus sign, you can call it, you can say that it's T, it looks like T, and AT. So that's why it's called VOTAT. So just for you to remember it easily, for you to memorize the formula easily, VOTAT. But let's see what does these symbols or these variables mean. Okay. So first we have here V. V actually stands for the final velocity or the final speed of something, final velocity. Then it says that it is equal to v naught, which is the initial velocity. That's why there's v sub zero here because it's v naught. You can mostly find this formula with v sub zero or v sub o. So it's actually in the initial velocity plus a, which is acceleration, and then multiple a is multiplied by t, which is time. So these variables, yan yung mga meaning nila. So that is the meaning. Those are the meaning of these variable. These variable. Okay. Next, let's see. Let's look at their units. What are the usual units? So the units for this formula, so remember the units should be the same. Dapat pare-parehas. The units should be the same or consistent. The units should be consistent. So for example, we're dealing with, for V, if the usual unit is meters per second or meter per second. So if the unit is meter per second, the other units should be consistent as well. So for V naught, since it's the same as velocity, the unit should be meters per second as well. Velocity kasi siya. Plus yung acceleration, the unit for acceleration is meters per second squared. Okay. Now, the unit for time is seconds. So as you can see, the units for these variables are consistent. We have meters, we have seconds. So make sure that all you need before you solve a problem, dapat ang mga units are consistent. And to do that, you should convert units that are not consistent with the base units that you want, or with the unit that you want to have. Okay, now let's have here a sample problem. This is the first problem for this video. So can you read it? Okay, you can pause the video to read it first. Okay, so now let me read it for you. So a super teen is flying at an acceleration of 100 meters per second squared. How long does it take to reach his or her top speed of 1000 meters per second? Starting from rest. Okay. Now let's see what our first thing that the first thing that we should do in solving such problem is to analyze the problem first. Okay, so let's analyze the problem. So we have here a super team which is flying at, and then in the problem is sinabing acceleration. Acceleration is mentioned. So what is this acceleration? What do you think is this acceleration? It's actually 100 meters per second. And you know that the units for acceleration is like this, meters per second squared. 100 meters per second squared, okay? So that is acceleration. Now, what are the other things that are mentioned in this problem? Let's see. So we can we can assign the variable a, or acceleration a is equal to 100 meters per second squared. Okay. Now, what are the other things that are mentioned in this problem? Other information. We're actually looking for information. Top speed. It says here that there is top speed. So when you say speed, you can relate it to velocity. Okay, they are related, speed and velocity. So what is the top speed? So the top speed is 1000 meters per second. So you can say that V is equal to 1000 meters per second, or the final velocity is equal to 1000 meters per second. Why it is the final velocity? Because sinabi dito, top speed, it is the highest speed that the super teen can fly. And since it is the highest or the limit, it should be the final velocity, or you will think that it will be the final velocity. Okay. Now, what are other things that are mentioned in this problem? Starting from rest. Okay, now, si Super Teen, superhero ito, lumilipad, Super Teen is flying. He or she can fly. So, he flew, or lumilipad daw siya. Bago siya lumipad, nakatigil muna siya, or she, or he or she is starting from rest. When you say starting from rest, are you moving or not when you are at rest? So when you are starting from rest, you're actually not moving in any direction. So starting from rest would mean that the initial velocity, or v sub 0 or v sub o, is equal to 0. Hindi ka pa gumagalaw. So 0 lang yung speed mo. You're not moving. That's why your speed is, or your velocity is 0. That is because you are starting from rest. Okay. Now, what's next? Let's see. How about, so let's see, we have here now the given. So we already have our given based on our analysis of the problem. Let's now write the given information to us. Okay. We have the acceleration, 100 meters per second squared. So that we know that this super teen is actually speeding up, gaining speed from 0 or at rest to 1000 meters per second, because it has an acceleration. When you have an acceleration, you are gaining speed. Okay. Now, another given is the final velocity, or v, which is equal to 1000 meters per second, and then our initial velocity, or v sub 0, which is equal to 0. Now, we have the given. What are we required to do? Anong gagawin natin? Ano mo pinapahanap sa atin? So, let's see. Let's look at the problem again. What are we required to solve? So, there is a phrase here. It says here, how long does it take to reach his or her top speed? How long? When you say how long, what comes to your mind? Is it the distance? How long? Or is it the time? How long? Gaano kahaba or gaano katagal? Okay? So in this scenario, how long means gaano katagal, or the time. We're actually looking for the time. How long does it take to reach his or her top speed? Okay, so that's why we're we're actually wanting to solve for t in seconds. Okay, t, and the unit that we want for t is seconds. Okay, so again, write the required t, and then you can put a square bracket there like this one and write s for seconds, indicating that you want t in seconds. You want to solve t, and the unit that you want for t is seconds, okay, or second. Now, the next thing that you should do, or you could do, if possible, you can draw a diagram. Just a simple diagram, not a very intricate drawing, simple drawing of the problem. So I have here the super teen represented by a circle, and then the super teen is actually what? Flying at an acceleration of 100 meters per second squared. Now, what other things? Now, si super teen, he or she is starting from rest. That's why his initial velocity is 0. And then his or her top speed is v is 100 meters per second. So the final velocity is 100 meters per second. That is his or her limit when it comes to flying speed. Now we're actually looking for or solving for time or in seconds. Okay, so this is the time that it will take for super teen to go from here to here, or to have, it is the time for super teen to go from at rest, from his or her resting position where he or she is not moving, to his or her top speed one. So this is the time that it would take his, or that it would take him or her. Okay, now let's look at the formula. Let's go back to VOTAT, the formula, the kinematic formula. We're now actually going to look for a working equation for us using this formula. We need to manipulate this equation. So kailangan baguhin natin yung equation. We need to isolate t, or dapat yung formula natin merong magamit natin si t or ng mas maayos ng formula na ito. So how should we do that? How can we isolate t? So we're actually just using simple algebra. So first, ano nangyari dito? What happened here? What do you think happened here? So nagkaroon ng, we we transposed V naught from the, we transposed V naught to the left side of the equation. So si V naught nasa right siya kanina. Now it is transposed to the left side of the equation. So when you do transposing, when you transpose a variable such as v naught, you are actually changing its sign. Okay, so v naught from positive, it will become negative. So it will have a negative sign. So our formula now is v minus v naught minus a t. Now, what's next? What happened here? Our equation now became v minus v naught all over a is equal to t. What happened here? What do you think? So what happened here is actually we divided both sides of the equation, the left and right, with a. Okay, I know you're really familiar with this in algebra. So when we divide both sides of the equation with a, so the a here in the right side of the equation will be canceled out. It will just become 1, and then you will divide all of the left side of the equation with a. So divide both sides by a. So you see the manipulation that we did. So nag-divide lang tayo both sides. Now, next. So what happened here? Ano kaya nangyari? Naging T is equal to V minus V naught over A na siya. So what happened? We just switched the position or the places of the left and right side of the equation so that it will be easier for us to use T or solve for T. So we're actually going to use this equation to solve the problem. So let's do that. So using the equation that we derived from VOTAT, so what are the values of V minus V naught over A? We already know that. So what is V or final velocity? What is V? V is 1000 meters per second. How about V naught? You already know that. It's actually 0. How about A or acceleration? Acceleration or A is 100 meters per second squared. Now we are ready to substitute these values to the equation. So we have T is equal to 100 meters per second minus 0 all over 100 meters per second squared. Now you can do this manually, or you can have, or if you have a calculator with you, you can solve it using your calculator. I recommend to use a scientific calculator, especially Casio, such as F. The brand for a calculator is FX991ES Plus or FX991ES. The one with solar power or without solar power, it's okay. It's a very recommended scientific calculator. So just to speed things up for you. So what's your answer for T? Okay. Let's see what is the answer for T. So in solving it, we get T is equal to 10 seconds. 10 seconds. So again, check it using your calculator. 1000 minus 0 all over 110. So we know that T is in seconds because our variables are actually consistent with the units. So we are confident that T is actually in seconds, and our answer is correct. So now there are things that we should remember. So again, check if the units cancellation is correct. So check mo kung nag-cancel out ba yung mga units or consistent ba yung units dun sa answers mo. Okay? So you can search the web kung paano ba or how to do that, the cancellation of units. And you can search the web. Now, check if your answer is feasible. Okay? Check if your answer is feasible or posible ba na mangyari yung answer mo ngayon. So, for us, since superhero si Super Teen, mabilis siyang lumipad. So, in 10 seconds, kaya niyang bumilis from zero, from di siya gumagalaw. After 10 seconds, na-reach niya na yung top speed niya na 1,000 meters per second. Because he or she is a superhero. Okay? Now, interpret the result. Okay, paano mo may interpret yung result? So, you can research more or you can infer. So, etong top speed ni Super Teen natin is very fast. It's actually faster than most bullets. Okay, faster than most bullets and about 3 times faster than the speed of sound. So you can say that Super Teen is actually it's actually flying at a very fast speed, and he can do he can reach his or her top speed in just 10 seconds. Very nice. Okay. So that's it for today. So let's wait for the other problems, the next problems. Okay. So thank you.